Kia ora and welcome to the Navigating Breath podcast with myself, John Van Hunen. This podcast is an opportunity to activate your inner compass, to explore ideas and tools that may support you in your journey through me sharing mine with like-minded individuals. Today's episode, I had every intention of discussing my relationship with coffee and how I was able to move through that. But when I woke up this morning, what was really present for me was my journey with suicidal thoughts and those deep slumps that I can find myself in, and the tools that I call on in order to support moving through that space. I think my first memory of having these sorts of thoughts was probably in my early 20s when I'd been through a challenging breakup, and it felt like life couldn't get any worse, or life was never going to get better, I guess was probably more my thought. I was experiencing a deep heartbreak, heartache, and I remember one point driving down the motorway and just wondering what it would be like just to shift the steering wheel and head towards a power pole. And yeah, I feel like there is a bit of a challenge in me to express talking about this, because I never did make an attempt on my own life. So I feel like there's maybe a bit of guilt that I'm not the one who should be sharing this story. But if we don't speak to these challenges that we face, then yeah, who knows who could be challenged by something similar, and maybe this episode can support them in their journey. It's also become very in my direct field at the moment, the amount of my friends or friends of friends who are experiencing, especially men, experiencing tremendous amounts of pain and challenge, and some of those have found that to become too much and have made a decision to end their lives. And that is a really challenging thing to sit with and not feel like it's my role to do what I can to discuss my experiences and hope that it supports someone else. Yeah, I think throughout my life, throughout my later life, I've definitely felt that similar discomfort again, where it just feels like things are just not going in the way that I would like them to, and like things are never turning around. And I guess when I really look at it, it feels like there is a big comparison piece that plays in when these sensations arise. Most recently, a few days ago, where I just felt like I just don't want to do this anymore. And yeah, allowing myself to sit with that. And I guess I'm blessed in the fact that I believe in the idea of reincarnation, or in karmic roles that we play while we're here. And the more I study the idea of what the other side looks like, and in our journey as a soul and our progression in life, then I understand that if we don't sit with the pain in this lifetime, then we are destined to repeat it in the next. And so I allow it to be there and trust that when I've experienced these difficulties previously, that things have lightened eventually. And it's just allowing myself to be with that depressive thoughts and rest when I need to, but also be conscious not to allow myself to rest to the point of going into that freeze response where I just shut down and don't do anything at all. I can even feel my body when I talk about this. There's a maybe you can hear there's a bit of a shudder in my voice, or I can feel the sensations arising as I speak to this, but just allow myself to be present with that. Yeah, I think understanding the soul's journey and our soul missions in life really takes some of the stress out of it when we realize that, yeah, we go through these waves, and when these comparison pieces arise, we're comparing ourselves to other people, that it's important to compare all aspects of someone else's life, not just the parts that look really good and shiny on social media. And to remember that we're all challenged in certain ways, and some of us are better at hiding it than others. And yeah, I guess what's really helped me to get out of these spaces when things have felt super challenging is to allow myself space and bring back the tools, even though I know I often speak to this, but the idea, there's often tools that I know will support me that I just really don't feel like using. And so I'll actively seem to avoid using these tools that I know that work so well. It's almost like there's part of me sometimes that feels like enjoys being in that suffering, or feels deserving of it. There is definite times where I feel like a bad person, and the more I'm starting to understand past lives and whatnot, I do understand that is not this present life. That's stuff that I can shift from past lives where, we've all had lives where we've done things that we would regret in this life. And I think one of my biggest tools at the moment is forgiveness, and forgiving myself for any emotions that arise. Just forgiveness and love. And when I come back to that space, it definitely eases some of that tension. Yeah, I think we can start to spiral. We kind of start to feel, I know personally I start to feel that I've done something wrong, that I'm not a good person, and that, yeah, life would be better sometimes if I wasn't here. But when I allow myself to come back to that space of nurturing and love and forgiveness, there's a softness there. And on a practical level, going for a bike ride or going for a walk, spending as much time in nature as I possibly can, swimming, yeah, those are the practices that really allow me to shift and see things from a different perspective. There's something about nature that really allows me to just let go of any of those stresses externally. There's a joke that Kiwis are obsessed with birds, and I am a true testament to that. I love to be in nature and just watching the native birds flutter around me, and I feel a deep sense of connection when I'm in nature and in those experiences, and they allow me to feel softness where there is that otherwise that heaviness. Yeah, it's been a big journey for me, and I'll go more into that in future episodes. But yeah, I think that if we can transform and transmute this heaviness, there is so much potential there for infinite amounts of growth and possibility. And it's just a matter of allowing ourselves to be there and be in it, and not be a victim of it, and trust that there are always tools there to support us in moving through it, even if it feels like it takes a long time. I look back a few years ago to when I was seeing a therapist and how challenging I found life back then. And then I discovered breath work, and they took me into even more of the shadows and more of dark places. But with those practices, I was able to transmute the energy. And, after 9 months of doing a breathwork session every 2 weeks, which is a lot, I was really able to shift so much of that energy. And I think maybe this is the first time in these last few months where it feels like there's so much potential. And even though those really heavy, dark thoughts arise sometimes, that with the power of my breath and presence to what is love in my body, there's so much opportunity there, and knowledge and wisdom that can be experienced. But it's just about allowing myself to be present with it. And sometimes that can be so challenging. There's always a meal to be made, or or a cacao to be brewed, or Instagram messages to reply to, or work to be done. But when I can put those things aside and just allow myself to be present with my body and my mind, for even just the shortest periods of time, I can really tap into whatever is alive for me, and allow it just to be there, and allow my breath or movement to help transmute that. It's not an easy space, especially as men in this world, as we rediscover what it is to be a man, after all that is the dark masculine playing such a huge role in society for the last probably century, maybe longer, probably longer. And now as we step more into the light, and we're the generation that is transmuting that darkness, and wanting to embrace what it is to be a healthy masculine. And that is no easy feat. And I guess that's why, we have such a high suicide rate amongst men. I think it's double the feminine. But yeah, just know there is spaces available to us, and tools that can lighten that heaviness. Tools like breath work and meditation, guided meditations, such beautiful practices. I notice with my clients, even just those more gentle practices just allow them so much space and opportunity to process in a gentle, delicate way. And yeah, I'm forever grateful for the tools that I've developed and can offer others in these situations and circumstances. So yeah, I really appreciate you all listening today, and really look forward to sharing more with you all. And if you've got any questions or would like to connect, then feel free to reach out. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more of my journey and getting other like-minded individuals. If you'd like to be on this podcast, please reach out. We can arrange something. Yeah, just sending you all love, light, abundance, and just knowing that there is a space to create some freedom from that heaviness you may be feeling right now.